Islam was first introduced south of the Sahara in around 970 to the Tukulor, who were a settled Fulani people living on the Senegal River. So already by 970, there is Islam on the Senegal River among the Africans south of the Sahara. But Islam was just the same, often not practiced and sometimes retreated, so that the full Islamization of Senegal, which took place through Sufi orders, only happened under the French from about 1850 to 1950. Now, one can ask, well, how could that be? That the religion of Islam sat there and was present for almost 1,000 years and didn't advance or anything? And the answer to that is, well, it was practiced probably in the Orthodox fashion very little. And that was true there, and it was true in a lot of the rest of the Muslim world too. Probably throughout the history of Islam, only a minority of Muslims ever have practiced the formal worship or the salat, the 5 times a day prayers, for example. And often there would be a Sufi sheikh who might or might not practice those practices himself, who would be the person who would dispense wisdom and teaching and so on in the place. And the Islamization in the sense of Orthodox practice then tended to lag. And also sometimes Islam would come in and they would go back and forth, so it wouldn't always be there. So because Senegal as a country became Muslim, it was Islamized more recently. So that has helped to account for its current religious enthusiasm. Senegal proudly proclaims itself the most religious country in the world in a world poll of religiosity, in which people were asked to self-identify whether they called themselves religious or not. 97% of the population called themselves religious, beating out all other countries in the world. And in West Africa, most particular language groups tend today to be either overwhelmingly Muslim or Christian, which creates possible fuel for future identity politics animosities. And I'll show you a more detailed example of that when we get to Nigeria. So first of all, dwelling on Senegal. Senegal has 2 tremendous Sufi orders, the Tijāniyyah, who were originated by Ahmadou Tijāni, an Algerian who died in 1815 in Morocco and is buried in Fez, Morocco. So his tomb there is a place of visitation which I have visited. But the Tijāni Sufi order was spread by his followers all over West Africa, and especially the parts of it nearest to Morocco. So that in West Africa, as you go from the westernmost tip of it in Dakar, the capital of Senegal, eastward, the Tijāni Sufi order is present everywhere, but it becomes less the farther east you go. Whereas the Qadiriyya Sufi order, which is its rival, is the least at the farthest west point and becomes more the farther east you go. So that's kind of a mixture that you have there. This is the mosque of Medina Baye in Kaolack, Senegal, which is a huge modern mosque of the Tijanis. So this represents the Tijāni Sufi order. It is estimated that about 50% of the people in Senegal follow the Tijāni Sufi order, and about a third, 33%, say, follow the Murid Sufi order, which is a branch of the Qadiriyya. So that accounts for 5/6 of the population. The remaining 1/6 includes everything else, which includes, of that 16%, the majority of it follow other Sufi orders, and then the non-Sufi and anti-Sufi Salafiyya type people, who are a very tiny percentage, and then liberal people, non-religious people, Christians, and animists all fit into that category of the remaining 1/6 of the population of Senegal. So the religiosity of Senegal partly is driven by the rivalry between these 2 huge, great Sufi orders. And this is not at all like the religious politics in other Muslim countries, I might add. So here are 2 of the Senegalese Tijanis. Ibrāhīm Niass and his grandson Hassan Cissé, who were very prominent, great sheikhs of tremendous fame. And I met the daughter, I think it was, of Ibrāhīm Niass when I was in Morocco on one of my visits there. And there are many other sheikhs also there. And there's some connection, too, with Islam in Philadelphia, because the Tijāniyyah Sufi order is present there and elsewhere in the United States and in the world. And something like the explosion of Christianity worldwide out of South Korea, you have likewise the explosion of Muslim Sufism worldwide out of Senegal, a country that only has 12 or 15 million people. And so you have this outpouring of the message of Senegal to the world, in effect, which is a very interesting, impressive phenomenon. And this is Hassan Cissé giving a sermon in the mosque. Hassan Cissé visited America. Unfortunately, I did not get to meet him. And this is the rival Sufi leader. This is Amadou Bamba, who died in 1928 and is the very founder of the Muridi Sufi order in Senegal. So he was actually a Senegalese. And although he has a chain of transmitters that go back to other Qadiri Sheikhs before, he is like the great cultic leader and figure. And this photograph of him is the only photograph of him in existence. So consequently, his followers in all of their art always portray him based on this photograph, which is a really interesting and strange thing. And he was famously exiled by the French, who were uncomfortable with his popularity. He was so popular that they were really scared of him, even though he was completely non-political in the sense of not being aggressive or rebellious toward the French regime. He didn't counsel rebellion against the French regime, but the French still didn't like him. So he was exiled twice, once to Mauritania and once to Gabon. And when he was exiled to Gabon, he was sent by ship. So this painting represents, in the form of art that is used there, the French ship with the French flag taking Amadou Bamba, who is portrayed here. And so when they wouldn't let him pray on the ship, it said that he unrolled his prayer rug on the water and stood out on the water and prayed on the water. And that is a part of the belief of this Muridi Sufi order. And the Murids are also present in Philadelphia, and I have known some of them as well. And here's a different portrayal of the very same thing. And here he is sitting at the same exact, he was shown sitting, but with the same appearance derived from the real photograph. And here he is shown sitting down with the lion, calming the lion.